Nothing flummoxes me more than a two-faced brown noser. And I want to tell a little story to provide a little bit more insight. And some of the details and names have been changed to protect the innocent or whatever. It's time to jump into your new favorite segment.
Well, that was random.
One day I am sitting with Deltrice and Vanessa comes up. Now, Vanessa is a mutual friend. So I say to Deltrice, "Oh, have you heard? Vanessa just got a new promotion." And then Deltrice just starts laughing hysterically, talking about promotion. That girl ain't getting no promotion. She may have gotten a new position and better benefits and is in a more healthy working environment, but that girl didn't get a promotion. It was a lateral move at best. And so I say, okay, well, maybe you're right. It wasn't a promotion. I misunderstood. I misinterpreted what Vanessa told me. It was a lateral move. But regardless, this is something Vanessa is really proud of. This is something Vanessa has worked toward. And it really sounds like you're downplaying Vanessa's accomplishment. And so I'm saying this to Deltrice, and Deltrice just is like laughing, talking about, yeah, promotion. Yeah, right. Yeah. And the part that's really crazy is the fact that Deltrice and Vanessa are like buddy buddy, and Deltrice is really working to keep Vanessa in her good graces, yet is minimizing and downplaying her behind her back. I don't respect that, and I really dislike that. And if I had an option to not be around Deltrice, which most of the time I do, I opt to distance myself because I don't like that type of energy. Because if you're talking about Vanessa behind her back, and not even really talking about Vanessa, but if you're downplaying Vanessa behind her back and celebrating her in her face, what are you doing to other people? I need people that are going to celebrate me behind my back as well as celebrate me in person. And this isn't a situation where I feel I need to insert myself, but even if I were, I don't even think that Vanessa would believe it because Deltrice is that good at concealing her jealousy, concealing her animosity towards Vanessa. She is very dare I say, manipulative. At least that's how it looks from the outside. So I don't even think Vanessa would believe me or anybody else if we even brought it to her attention. But that story truly makes the perfect segue into today's episode. Free to be a good friend. Growing up, my mom always used to stress the importance and the value of having a good girlfriend. You need at least one good girlfriend in your life. And I would always say, I mean, okay, I guess, but I never truly understood why. Because I always had guy friends. Well, not always. In elementary school, I had a mix. But after elementary school, I really had majority guy friends. I hung out with a lot of guys, and not because I didn't like girls or didn't get along with girls, because I did still have, some girlfriends, but I really majority had guy friends, and I loved kicking it with the guys. I was one of the homies to the guys, and it was always platonic, mostly platonic. But I really had just a really fun time with the guys. It was real cool. It was real chill. It was fun. We did we played video games and we rapped and we just roasted each other and we just talked shit about each other all day. And it was just really such a good time. I had such a good time with hanging out with the guys. So when my mom would always make comments like, you really need a good girlfriend, you need a good girlfriend in your life, I never really understood why or the value in that. And it wasn't until I got to college and I had to think, because like I said, I had girlfriends along the way. And this is my truth, and I do not intend to offend anyone. But the girlfriends that I had probably from, I would say, late middle school, throughout high school, early college, Not really early college, because that's when I met some good girlfriends, but really late middle school to high school, they were friends, and they were good friends, and we always kicked it, and we always had a really good time. It was always a good time, but it always just felt like something was missing for me. I shared everything with them. They shared a lot with me. It was always love. Like, we called each other best friends. And truly, it was a really, really solid friendship, but it always felt like there was something missing for me. It did not feel, and it was not what I envisioned a best friendship to be. Good friends, but still did not feel like it was a best friend. It wasn't until I got to college that I met women that are now still lifelong friends and really good friends. And for me, as someone who identifies as a woman, being friends with somebody else who is identifying as a woman, there is just something really special about a friendship and a sisterhood between two women who love each other, who support each other, who can be their full and authentic selves around and with each other. There is something truly, truly special about that. And that does not invalidate any other friendship that you may have, but I get it now. I get what my mom was talking about, because I am currently experiencing that type of friendship. And I can only hope and pray that I am being a good friend to my best friend. And I need to ask her, I want to ask her, what can I do to be a better friend, to be better in this friendship? Because I love you and I trust you and I value you and I value this friendship and I value this connection. So what can I do to maintain and strengthen this sisterhood that we have? But I must say that I was not always the friend that I am now. I have had some serious peaks and valleys when it comes to the type of friend that I am. I think I really, really started out as a really good friend. When I was younger, I was really a good friend, and I poured my all. I poured my whole entire self into my friendships. Like, I used to bend over backwards for my friendships. It really got to the point where my parents were a little concerned for me. I think they would always say, I see what you're doing for others, but I'm not seeing those people doing the same thing for you in return. And they would always check in with me. And I would always say, I'm cool, I'm good, I feel good, this feels good. I love giving, I love being able to be there for my friends and show up for my friends. And it never felt like they were using me, because I always wanted to give. I wanted to give. But then there came a point where I just felt tired and overextended. And that's kind of when I shifted. I really started doing that, like, I'm going to give you the same energy that you're giving me. Not animosity, not hate. I just became depleted. And it didn't feel like I was being poured into as much as I was pouring out, which is so important. There has to be a balance, and that doesn't necessarily mean tit for tat, but it has to feel equal and reciprocated. And that also doesn't mean that it's going to be equal and reciprocated in all seasons, because sometimes you're going to be up and your friend is going to be down, or you're going to be down and your friend is going to be up. But you both need to feel like you're being filled by one another, just kind of holistically. And when you look at the friendship overall, and it just got to a point where I wasn't feeling that way, and I started feeling depleted. So the new people that came into my life, I'm sure they were not feeling the warmth and the fullness of the friendship that some of my older friends were given. And I know they weren't, because I'm not really in contact with a lot of those people from that particular period in my life. And I really, really wish I could go back and like apologize and go back and really foster those relationships, because during that time period I met some really, really amazing people. Some people I really wish I could still be in contact with today. Some people that I really, really miss. And I know somebody will be like, well, nothing's stopping you. The only time you'll run out of time is when you die. But like, how do you reach back to somebody you haven't spoken to in like 8 years? And it's like, hey, you trying to be friends again? I don't know. I don't know how that works. It just seems a little inauthentic. And, it's cool. It was that season and that season is over. But I do really, really miss a couple of people from that period of my life. And I really wish we were still friends, just because I loved their energy. I loved their company and I love being around them. And I really, really miss them. But if you want to reach out to me, I'm here. I'm ready to be a good friend now. I'm always receptive to healthy friendships. So if you're trying to kick it, let me know. I also think the other thing that really made it hard for me to maintain friends, kind of shifting gears here, is that I have such a big family. And I think with family, it's so easy to give little effort. Or maybe not give little effort, but it's almost effortless with family, right? Because you're going to see them every birthday. You're going to see them every holiday. You're going to see them, several times a month or several times a week, just depending on that dynamic. So it almost seems like there isn't really a whole lot of effort that has to be put into it. And I have a huge, huge family, like over 50 first cousins. So my cousins were and are my first friends. Like, when I link up with several of my cousins, it's like no time has passed. We jump right back into the shenanigans. Like, we don't miss a beat. We don't miss a step. And I definitely have friends like that. But I do think that may be one of my challenges with friendships, is that I'm used to relationships being effortless, and that's definitely not the case now, especially living far apart, having kids, having partners, having just everything that comes along with growth. It's just a little more challenging. And I remember having a conversation with my not best friend, about just like how our relationship has changed and evolved over the course of our life. And we were also talking, and we have been friends for half of our lives. That is so crazy to think that I have been friends with somebody for over half of my life. That's wild. But we were just talking, and it was like, yeah, maybe I used to be tripping about the time and the expectation that I expected from you, because your life looked completely different. You had different responsibilities, different obligations than I had at that time. And now that I have some of the same obligations and responsibilities that you have, I totally get why we weren't, clicking and vibing at that time, and how it just really seemed really mismatched. But that is something that I really had to reflect on. And really, that was really important for our friendship, for them to bring that to my attention and for them to call that out in me. Like, it's not that I'm trying to be a bad friend. It's just I don't have the bandwidth to be the friend that I used to be before I had these responsibilities. So really just being open and honest and transparent with your friends is super duper important. And I realize I'm kind of jumping from one topic to another, but I feel really, really passionate about this topic these days, because connections and relationships with people that are healthy and that pour into me and those that I can pour into, it's so important to me right now. It is my number one value. Community is one of my top values, like family and then community. And so that, friendships, that really kind of meshes the two. And I'm really in a season right now where my true best friend, my sister, we are in a really good place in our friendship and in our sisterhood. And that is probably one of the things that I value most these days. Like my family, my health, my friendship with my sister. It it's so valuable. It's invaluable. And it is that friendship that my mom was talking about all those years ago. Like, I am my full self. She's her full self. It just feels so good to have the type of friendship that I always imagined and I always dreamt of. And being able to share that with this person who feels the same way. Like it's so amazing. It's so beautiful. And it's free from anything negative. It's just so pure. It's honest, but it's gentle. It's real. It's warm. It's secure. It's one of the relationships that I value in my life right now. One of the relationships that I have created outside of like family, of course. One of the relationships that I truly, truly value. And without really going on a tangent, now I'm just kind of thinking out loud. I'm wondering if that friendship has evolved because of the work that I've done on myself.
Ain't no way. I just lost about 5 minutes of this episode right here.
In the audio that I lost, I was pouring my heart out to my best friend. Thank you so much for your love and for your support. Thank you for allowing us to do this part of our lives together. Thank you for letting us take this journey together. I love you so much. I value you. And you are a safe space. You are a secure space for me. And I can only hope that you truly, truly, truly feel that same way with me and about me. I have no idea what happened to that audio. It got real mushy. Clearly, the this isn't the space for that. So I'm not even going to try to recreate that. But I will say that I really, really hope that everybody can find that friendship. For me, I think it's really special to have that with the same sex, same gender. It's just something about that connection, that relatability. But I truly hope that regardless of gender, sex, and identity, you can find a connection that is authentic and safe. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Free to Be podcast with me, Jazzy P. Let's stay connected, y'all. Hit that subscribe button if you're listening on YouTube. If you're listening on your other favorite streaming platform, be sure to rate me 5 stars so that other listeners can find the podcast as well. For more fun and exclusive content, become a patron on Patreon, patreon.com/freetobejazzy. Follow me on Instagram at instagram.com/freetobejazzy. And again, if you're listening on YouTube, you can listen to the full Free to Be podcast playlist on YouTube as well. In the meantime and in between time, get you some friends, be a good friend, and make being a good friend, a true good person and a good friend, make that your business for 2024. But in the meantime, in the between time, I'll catch y'all later. Peace.